That's the exception. You see, on the other side is another male factor. He was sorry, low down. His mother had prayed for him. His daddy left him when he was just a baby, and he didn't know who his daddy was, and his mama worked hard to raise him. And here he was now. He'd gone out into rebellion, gone out into sin, gone out into the world, and he'd lived a hard life, a rough life, and he did what he had to do to survive. He was a thief. He'd stolen here and stolen there, and here he was hanging on a tree. And he began to look at his life. He began to think about it. And while he had time to think, here he is hanging on a cross, and he realized that what he'd done got him to where he was, and he wasn't blaming anybody. He wasn't casting accusations against this one and that one. And there's just something about this man over here in the middle that's different from anybody he'd ever met. I don't know if you ever heard him preach before he went to the cross. There's nothing said in the Bible about it. But I guess it's okay to hear the message when you're hanging on a tree. And he heard the message, because what he heard out of that man in the middle was different from anybody else he'd ever been with. Wasn't like any of his friends. He saw love over there. He saw a sinless man over there. He saw a man over there that was different from him. He saw something in that man he didn't see in the thief on the other side of him. The thief on the other side of him was the crowd he'd run with all of his life. Well, that's all he ever knew, was that loud mouth over there casting accusation. Why, he knows all about that arrogant garbage. And here he's hanging on a tree, and that man in the middle, there's something about him. There's something about him. And now here's what he says. And he says, I'm getting what I deserve. It's just for me to be here. Now you're talking. Now you're talking because God can do something to help you. Now you're not blaming everybody and everything for your problems. You're accepting the fact that you yourself are a sorry, low-down, dirty, rotten sinner. I don't care how rich you are, how smart you are, and who you know. All have sinned and come short of the glory of God. Can you imagine what kind of world this would be if the heart of man wasn't full of hell? How many of you have ever lived long enough to experience hell on this earth? There's plenty of it to go around. Believe me. And do you know where it comes from? It comes out of the heart of man. Do you know why that so many people are literally cast into poverty and can't pay their bills? Because there are people on Wall Street that don't have enough millions. They want more. And politicians that sell out when they go to Washington so they can pad their own coffers. Oh yeah, that's the heart of man. Greed. Greed. They never get enough. They said to the richest man in the world one time, what would it take to make you happy? Just a little more money. Just a little more. The Bible said the love of money is the root of all evil. Not money, but the love of it. That's why we get into wars. That's why one nation rises against another nation. That's why the military-industrial complex pumps the money, the money, the money, the money. And they take the young men and they put them over there on the field and they blow them up and they make more money, more money, more money. And so when this man went to the cross, he got an education. He saw himself like he'd never seen himself before. There's something about suffering that opens the eye and the heart and the soul of a man. Oh, I know, maybe you've gone a long time and never suffered. Maybe you've never had that come upon you. Sail on. It'll come. It'll come. It says in the book of Job, they're born of woman a few days and full of troubles. The sparks fly upward. Trouble can come upon us. I don't know how to say it to you tonight. Please listen to me. You're not going to live forever. You're going to die. Your time is going to run out on earth. And it'll come when you least expect it. For some reason, Satan has everybody brainwashed into believing, well, I see my death coming now. It's going to be a couple of years down the road. Or maybe 10 years. I've got 10 years left. You don't have 10 minutes left. You don't know that. He used a man in the New Testament who had barns, build bigger barns, and said, now, soul, take thine ease. Thou hast many goods laid up. Take it easy. And he thought he was going to live on. And he called for his soul. Have you ever had a brush with death? Few people do. And every person that I've ever known that's ever had a brush with death changed them. And somehow or another they try to get it to the other people who's never had a brush with death. You don't know what's going on. You better wake up, because you're going to come down to the end of your road, and it won't be where you think it'll be. They had a brush with death. And so this thief on the cross said, shut your mouth, leave him alone. We're here because we worked our way here. We deserve being here. I'm getting what I deserve. Leave him alone. Then he looked at him and he said, Lord, remember me. No big long prayer, no theology in it. He just, Lord, remember me when thou comest into thy kingdom. And that blessed face looked over at him, and he could see the blood running down, dripping off of his beard, his face all beaten and scarred. He could see those thorns as they pushed their way down into his skin, and the skin bulged out. And he looked at him like nobody's ever looked at him. And he looked back and he said, today thou shalt be with me in paradise. That thief died in peace. That thief went to heaven. The other one died screaming, and he went to hell. So close, both of them. So close to him. One went to heaven, one went to hell. Your church won't save you. You're a Baptist, big deal. You're a Methodist, oh, so what? So you're a Catholic, oh, huh? I'm bored. You're a Lutheran, you're an Episcopalian, you belong to the church. No, not until you're born again. Amen. Amen. Do you know the Baptist church probably got as many pedophiles as the Catholic church? Amen. The Baptist church got as many preachers chasing women as the Catholic priests have been chasing boys. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And in the Baptist church, when they do it, they keep it hush, 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 hush. We don't want to hurt the testimony. No, no, no. Let it out. You'll have a testimony. It'll find you. You haven't helped anything when they find out you covered it up. Your church won't save you. It won't do you any good. It won't do you one bit of good. But I'll tell you what, if you can say it tonight, Lord, remember me. Remember me. Remember me. In 1973, I sat on a sofa, the weight of the world on me. And I bowed my head and I said, Lord, be merciful to me, a sinner. Never prayed that prayer in my life. I was 27 years of my life. Never prayed it. Lord, be merciful to me, a sinner. And man, when I raised my head back up, it just went up. It all changed just that fast. I knew something profound had happened to me right there on that sofa. 1973. Amen. Lord, remember me. Remember me. Now, when my old body wears out and it's done its thing, it's finished, and it's the way it's been acting lately, it acts like it's about finished, and then they've got me pumped up for a little while longer and patched up, and it'll last for a while. But the truth of the matter is, one day this old body's going to be done. It's going to be finished. But I'm not the body. I'll leave. I'll leave. And I know who the Lord is. The birth of Christ is a beautiful thing. It's a wondrous thing. But the death of Christ, if that doesn't grip your heart, if this crucifixion doesn't get to you, let me warn you tonight, okay? Let me warn you. I know that we have high-pressure evangelists that, anything goes and just say the sinner's prayer and everything's going to be okay, but it's not. Many of you prayed the sinner's prayer and it wasn't okay. You prayed the sinner's prayer, went to church, and then walked out the door and didn't come back for 10 or 15 or 20 years. Some of you walked out the door and you're still not back. You prayed the sinner's prayer. Amen. In the book of Romans, chapter 1, there's a warning in the Bible. That warning is this: who knowing the judgment of God not only do such things, but take pleasure in